The Turkey Leg Hut. It went from a food truck in 2015 to a brick and mortar restaurant in just 2 years. And at its height of popularity, there were long lines, long waits, and then came the lawsuits, the criminal accusations, and the marital strife. So here's a look at the rise and fall of the Turkey Leg Hut. The Turkey Leg Hut became a Houston staple. People will travel from all across the country to come to Houston to get a taste and then wait in long lines for hours, even in the Texas heat, to get a chance to grub on one of its 13 different turkey legs.
In Houston, we know how to eat. We were the fattest damn city for a while. I preferred pleasantly plump or big boned city. But even in a place overrun with places to eat, the Turkey Leg Hut is easily one of the most popular. Their doors have only been open about a year and a half, and already they're a staple in Houston. People willing to wait for freaking hours to get in. While I ain't got that kind of patience to wait, others do. I went to see what all the hype was about and check it out.
Now, I've been here twice before, but I've never actually tasted the turkey leg. I had your pasta. So why did you decide to pick turkey legs to sell?
You know what? I think turkey legs chose us. We started during rodeo season. Of course, rodeo food is turkey legs. And then the way we prepared our turkey legs became a big social media buzz. And we had people from everywhere coming to see what was
atmosphere. The drinks are really good. So it's all around good place.
Are you ever amazed at the business that you've been able to create?
Every day. We are truly amazed when we walk past or when we drive past and we see the line. It's a blessing and something, you know, it's kind of surreal to know that that's something that we've created and people come from all over to taste what we've created.
What got you in the door?
Well, my friends, they told me the food was great and I want to try the Cajun crawfish mac and cheese.
And now you guys are giving more community with different charitable events and foundations.
Yes, we have our first annual Turkey Leg Hut Fall Festival that's coming up October 13th that we're going to do. We have lots of vendors, about 150 vendors. So we'll have a kids zone. We'll have jumpies and face painting. We'll also have 2 different bands, 2 Zydeco bands. Just something to give back to the community.
I noticed on your table it says a 2-hour limit. We did a segment about people camping in restaurants.
Oh my goodness.
And that eventually hurts the waiters, waitresses, and the business, right?
It does. I think what we've created here at Turkey Leg Hut is an environment that people don't want to leave. And so that's
But you got to get your ass out here at some point.
You got to. I mean, you know what? And I think that's why, you know, across the street we're going to have our daiquiri hut, which will have daiquiris and have hookah. So you can transition from here to there in the event that you just want to stay and continue to enjoy the environment, but give people other people the opportunity to still eat.
How many different flavors do you have on your turkey leg?
We have about 13 different variations of the turkey leg, including the flavored turkey leg, the stuffed turkey leg, the shrimp Alfredo stuffed turkey leg, and then the Cajun crawfish turkey leg.
Let's get to it. Let's taste it. Delicious.
Thank you.
And super tender.
And this one is a Hennessy Glaze turkey leg.
That's my favorite.
That's your favorite?
That's my favorite.
Nice.
And that's Hennessy Glaze.
Hennessy Glaze turkey leg, yes.
You know those people are out there for a long time. Tell me what's that like trying to treat them once they get in the door?
It's awesome because they standing in line in the heat to wait to get here to eat. It's awesome. And we appreciate it because they could have went anywhere else and spent their money. So we really appreciate the support of the city and everybody.
Some of the first signs of trouble for the restaurant came when Third Ward residents sued in 2019, claiming the restaurant was a public health risk. The main culprit, the smoke.
Developing tonight, one of Houston's most popular restaurants has now been hit with a lawsuit from some neighbors in Third Ward.
Yeah, they say the Turkey Leg Hut is a public health risk. Fox 26's Natasha Geigel live in Third Ward tonight with more on this lawsuit. Natasha.
Well, there are 5 residents that are named in this lawsuit, and they all claim that they have a bone to pick with the Turkey Leg Hut because of all of the smoke coming from their outdoor cooking area and entering their homes. And we came out earlier today and captured some of that on camera, all of the smoke that was surrounding people's houses. The lawsuit claims the smoke is jeopardizing people's health, and the restaurant is an unpermitted, illegal, and unregulated business. The lawsuit also accuses the city of Houston of ignoring the complaints about the smoke. Today, the residents won a temporary restraining order in which the restaurant can only operate their outdoor cooking area between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's a small victory as they continue to work to having all outdoor cooking stopped at the restaurant.
But the smoke is so thick and voluminous and billowy that at night it goes into the homes of everybody and causes throat irritation, eye irritation, headaches, etc. And you wake up smelling like smoke. And when you're talking about the health of infants, then what else are you left to do but to be in court?
And the Turkey Leg Hut released this statement to us saying, quote, "At this time, it is a pending legal matter and we are not able to comment. We are aware of the allegations against the Turkey Leg Hut and have been cooperative with the city of Houston and the associated departments. We will continue to rigorously defend all allegations made against us as we always work hard to have a safe and healthy environment for our community and patrons." Natasha Geigel reporting, Fox 26 News.
At the time the lawsuit was filed, many in the area wondered if it was a sign of a much bigger problem. Some people even called the lawsuit an example of gentrification, while supporters took to social media to support the Turkey Leg Hut.
Tonight we start with the latest in the ongoing battle between a popular Houston restaurant and the neighbors who live nearby. Some of the neighbors, some calling this an example of gentrification and some of what we are seeing all over the country. A lot of supporters took a look at the Turkey Leg Hut and considered them the proof that you can take a side hustle business and turn it into a huge success. But with that has come some major headaches. Some people living in the area have joined together to file a lawsuit against the business, and quickly people started choosing sides, many calling this a race issue and accusing the neighbors of trying to push a black business out of what has been a black community for decades. And now there's an alleged email sent to neighbors of the popular restaurant. They give details and instructions on how the lawsuit will work. We need a name for the organization, so feel free to suggest Greater Rosedale Protection Association, Alameda Quality of Life, the Justice Society of Tomorrow. I don't know yet, according to that email. Another portion of the email reads, the ultimate goal of this litigation is obviously for the Turkey Leg Hut to be somewhere else and not on our corner. That cannot be the stated goal. So we also need to think of injunction relief that we can ask for. To talk about this dispute is the attorney representing the neighbors, Chris Feldman, the attorney for Turkey Leg Hut, John Zavitsano, and community activists Derek Muhammad, Gladys House, and Sadia Evangelista. We want to welcome you all to the Factor Uncensored. So, Chris, let's start with you. You represent the residents, and when I first heard about the complaint, I understood that. Obviously, there are no zoning areas here in Houston, no zoning in Houston. And so I understood you didn't want a lot of parking, a lot of noise, a lot of smoke in your neighborhood. But that email changed the game, where they said, we just want it out of this neighborhood.
So this is a perfect example of how corruption can actually divide a community. You know, I have here at least three different reports from the city of Houston where the Turkey Leg Hut is operating out of compliance illegally. But the city has chosen to turn a blind eye, and the result is...
And is that what you're referring to as corruption?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. For whatever reason, the city has decided to turn a blind eye, and what that has done is pitted citizen against citizen, which is a real shame. As a result of the city turning a blind eye to the situation, you have a situation where you have an operation operating illegally, creating a health and safety issue for its own patrons and the neighbors. As a result of that, they are left with filing a lawsuit. And it's unfortunate it's come to this. But if we had equal enforcement of the law, like every other restaurant has in the city of Houston, you know, show me another barbecue place in the city of Houston that is allowed to operate like this, that would be a hard thing to do. You can't find that. It doesn't exist. And this has forced the citizens and the neighbors that live nearby to file this lawsuit. And they met with the attorney for the turkey leg hut back in early September. And their own attorney said they were not taking, meaning the owners of the turkey leg hut, were not taking this issue seriously. And so if you have small children being exposed to this smoke, and you have a city that is deciding not to enforce the law equally, what else are you left to do? And it's a shame.
Let's bring John into this conversation. John, when you hear that the city is corrupt for not enforcing the rules and regulations when it comes to turkey leg hut, your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not going to speak for the city. I mean, the city can speak for itself, obviously. The city has a qualified health department. The health department has, they have been out there. We are in compliance. There are no issues that we are in violation of. We have attempted to replat. We need 3 feet in order to build an internal structure that would capture all of the smoke to address the very issue that some of these neighbors have raised. They have opposed the replatting.
And that's not accurate.
They have opposed the replatting. This is not about smoke. This is about, like the email says, if you're out and you see a loud car or motorcycle, take a video. People peeing on your fence, take a video. Drunk folks staggering back, take a video. I mean,
and that's from the residents in the area who want turkey leg hut gone.
These are from the managers of the litigation fund.
But they would be residents.
These are residents.
Yes.
These are residents that have had community meetings and have said that the turkey leg hut is not a family-friendly environment.
All right.
Okay?
Derek Muhammad, let's bring you into this conversation. Is this forced gentrification in that neighborhood where black businesses have existed for a long time? Not particularly turkey leg hut, because it's basically new, but trying to force them out.
This has gentrification written all over it. Turkey leg hut is in essence being sued for its success. It's a very successful business. Lines are around the corner half the time, and there are many who are moving into that neighborhood who would love to commandeer that block and have a business that would be as successful. They'd love to put a Starbucks there. So I do believe that gentrification is a factor, and there's a difference between a complaint and a conspiracy. Complaints are complaints, but if you read those emails, you see certain residents conspiring to put this brother and this sister out of business. The turkey leg hut is a thriving black business in a historic black neighborhood. We support the turkey leg hut, and I'm proud of the way the community has responded to this attack on one of our businesses.
All right, Sadia.
So, Chris, you're being very disingenuous because just a few minutes ago we had a conversation and you wanted to distance yourself from the email, but you did not distance yourself from this email and this conspiracy. We see this clandestine organization conspiring to put this business out of the neighborhood, and specifically the ultimate goal was to get the turkey leg hut off the corner by coming up with any means necessary and lying, saying that, you know, there was no peace there. This is a family-oriented business.
You would say that I'm being disingenuous.
Chris, 1 second. Let's bring Gladys into the conversation, then we're going to give you the last word.
Well, I just feel that, you know, both parties should come together and allow the business Turkey Hut to get the, 3 feet that it needs so that it can satisfy the concerns of Chris's clients. So, you know, but a lot of the emails and a lot of the controversy that's stirring, a lot of that energy should be directed to just really resolving the issues.
All right, Chris, let's talk about this email really quick.
Sure.
In that email, you hear your client saying, we want it gone.
Well, first of all, that's not my client. And number two, to suggest I was being disingenuous is disingenuous in and of itself because nobody brought up the issue of that email. I never had the chance in 7 minutes to, I never had the chance to address that when I addressed Mr. Carey. So I would appreciate no ad hominem attacks whatsoever. The people that brought this lawsuit owned their homes and lived in this area prior to the turkey leg hut.
Do you want the turkey leg hut? Do you want the turkey leg hut gone?
No, sir.
Are you going to help the turkey leg hut stay in the neighborhood?
My clients are prepared to do whatever it takes in terms of this replat issue, and that is disingenuous to suggest that they have opposed a replat, Mr. Zavitsanos. I've asked repeatedly, tell me where the issue is. Tell me where the issue is. And the issue is that your clients have not been taking this issue seriously of jeopardizing the public health. And they've ridden on the city of Houston turning a blind eye to this public issue. And this is how corruption affects communities.
All right.
It drives us apart.
John, go ahead.
May I respond to that? So I guess we've got three people up here being disingenuous. I mean, that's the narrative here. But let me just read from the email, okay? Because you read it very quickly. It says, the ultimate goal of this litigation is obviously for the turkey leg hut to be somewhere else and not on our corner. Our corner. That they own the corner.
Do you agree with that?
Okay? This is on Alameda. This is a state highway.
Right.
It is loud. There are trucks going up and down that street, but somehow these two managers who are going to put these pawns in front,
Two colonizers,
to be the front for this lawsuit, this is their corner.
All right.
Their
Thank
corner.
you, guys. We won't resolve this here. It will take a court of law.
And as concerns grew, so did evidence of some ongoing issues. Records from the Houston Health Department show Turkey Leg Hut had received multiple health code violations and failed health inspections as well.
Records from the Houston Health Department show the popular Turkey Leg Hut in Houston's 3rd Ward has received multiple health code violations since 2016.
The department says it has failed several health inspections in the past and was ordered to discontinue operations this past June. Fox 26's Tiffany Justice joins us now in our studio with more on that. Tiffany?
Yes, we were able to uncover these new findings, and if you actually go onto the website for the Houston Health Department and search for the Turkey Leg Hut, there is a list of health code violations. So according to records in July of 2018, an inspector observed an infestation of flies in the kitchen area of the restaurant. There are also reports revealing the restaurant did not have a proper hand washing or sanitation area for utensils at one of their outdoor cooking stations. And this all comes as they are dealing with or facing a lawsuit from residents claiming the restaurant is polluting the air with their outdoor cookers.
4 of the families that are plaintiffs had infants that are highly susceptible to this. You know, infants that are breathing in this smoke at night in their homes. Yet the city of Houston has turned a blind eye. These defendants have turned a blind eye. And then you have people like Miss Bird who live in the area that suffer from asthma.
Now, city officials have not responded to why this business was allowed to continue operating. The health department tells us inspectors have visited the site many times this year. Now, the owners of the Turkey Leg Hut announced yesterday they will be addressing this lawsuit today, and that is set to start at 11 o'clock this morning. Reporting live in the studio, Tiffany Justice, Fox 26 News.
Then the Turkey Leg Hut owners fired back, asking people in the area for a chance and promising to move forward as good neighbors.
Now to a Fox 26 exclusive, as the owner of Turkey Leg Hut is talking only to Fox 26 just hours after the lawsuit against the popular restaurant was dropped. A hearing had been set for today, but the 3rd Ward residents who filed the suit agreed to give the restaurant owners, quote, a chance to get in compliance with the law. Today's announcement does not mention a specific timeline. Now, they originally sued the eatery, calling it a public health risk, saying the smoke was toxic and causing health problems. I spoke to Turkey Leg Hut owner Nikia Price today, who says she feels relieved. Now, you and your husband and the people at Turkey Leg Hut, you're staying put there in 3rd Ward. Neighbors say they're also staying put. So how do you move forward and work together and address some of these concerns now?
I mean, at this point in time, the only thing that we can do is continue to move forward the way we intended to move forward prior to the lawsuit. The initial reaction was to, you know, have the replat done, have the pit enclosed, and that still is true. That's how we intend to move forward. We're still going to have the pits enclosed. We're still going to try to be good neighbors as we've always tried to.
Now, Nikia, you said that this really never was about the smoke in terms of the lawsuit, but about neighbors, at least some of them, wanting you out of the neighborhood. Do you still believe that?
Yes, I stand firm in my belief that they don't want us here. I believe that, you know, this is someplace that we built as a home and we aren't going anywhere. There's an underlying issue, but we aren't going anywhere. We're here to stay.
What do you think that underlying issue is?
I think the underlying issue is about race, to be honest with you. I think that we are a successful Black-owned business that is here in the heart of Third Ward. And, you know, gentrification has definitely been a part of them wanting us out.
Now, the next controversy came on a national level in 2021 when Turkey Leg Hut implemented a dress code that made some longtime customers angry. Was it really an attempt to stay family friendly or something else?
The Third Ward's Turkey Leg Hut is getting national attention this weekend after implementing a controversial dress code. Fox 26's Chelsea Edwards tells us why the popular restaurant is now in the hot seat.
Turkey Leg Hut was trending nationwide on Twitter after posting these new dress code rules. Some say it alienates their customers, others say it's about time. Turkey Leg Hut draws in crowds from across the nation with its famously stuffed legs. That's what the restaurant says it wants to see less of in this dress code posted Friday that excludes bonnets and exposed undergarments and states all body parts must be completely covered.
Makes your meal much more pleasant. He had to change her clothes.
Critics cooked up social media jokes featuring black tie and Amish attire as the new requirement, but others accused the restaurant of kicking out the same fan base that made them popular, even calling the owners racist.
We're a restaurant and we're not a club, let alone a strip club.
The restaurant says its family-friendly atmosphere has been taking a hit during the return to summer fun, with some customers complaining about what was hanging out at the table next to them.
As we see, you know, people coming in with pants all the way below the bottom of their derriere. We see, you know, women coming in with nothing but exposed butt and thigh.
They also say the first post was a draft not meant to be published. It was replaced with this list that prohibits excessively revealing clothing.
It was not implemented to change our image. We still like to have a good time, but at the same time, it's an environment where there are children here, there are, you know, older people here.
Turkey Leg Hut says there are no other changes in the works, but guests who don't follow the guidelines may be turned away.
I would think it's appropriate for them to cover up. I mean, if you're coming here and you're coming here for business, you don't want to come here for that.
Leaving some diners to enjoy their turkey meat while seeing less skin at the table. In Third Ward, Chelsea Edwards, Fox 26 News.
Turkey Leg Hut was not alone in its efforts to change what its customers wore. Etiquette experts then weighed in.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. No booty shorts or salt meat showing. Put up that fat back and cover that damn crack. A move that made national headlines. Houston's own Turkey Leg Hut creating a dress code to ensure a family-friendly atmosphere in their business. Some said it targeted certain groups or people. Others say it's necessary to keep clowns from showing out in a three-ring circus. Now another Houston restaurant, Taste Bar and Kitchen, says we support Turkey Leg Hut, and we're doing the same damn thing. We called in two etiquette experts to school those who are doing the most way too much.
And joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored is Monica and Darian Lewis from the Monica Lewis School of Etiquette. So Monica and Darian, in 2021, you got the year right, 2020.
Right. We're right on it with you.
Why do we have to tell grown-ass people how to dress in a restaurant? Why don't we already know that?
Well, you know what? I think, Isaiah, sometimes people have forgotten that dining out is a luxury. So it's not a necessity. And so whatever that restaurant has set for that particular establishment, the rules, it is for us to follow it. That is the rule of protocol, following the rules, right?
But the question was, why do we still have to tell people how to dress?
You know,
it's because normally people are defiant.
Yeah.
We don't like rules and we don't like change. And so we resist that that need to comply. So that's what you're basically seeing. It's just psychology happening.
And what about the wrong type of dress that the restaurants are pushing back against? They're saying saggy and hanging pants and too much skin being shown. Why do we think that's appropriate for a restaurant? That's for a nightclub. That shouldn't even be for anything, you know? But why do we think that's appropriate?
Now, I don't know, because I don't dress like that. So, but from my understanding, the restaurant is a family style, want to attract families into the restaurant. And so sometimes if you have not been taught as a child, you sometimes have to be taught as an adult, okay? And so with that being said, it's for us, if that is not the restaurant of your choice, meaning that if you choose not to follow the rules, take your power of choice back. You can choose to go somewhere else.
But who's going to open the door to you and embrace that kind of dress?
There are many businesses and there are many places that will embrace you, you know, but it's the choice that you have as a patron or as a customer. But it's also the same thing with that business owner. When they open that establishment, they have an ideal client or a target market that they're trying to hit. And so sometimes we may not fit in that ideal client sphere, and don't get offended though, because they're focusing after a specific clientele, and just because you like that item or you enjoy that experience there, doesn't mean that that's their intent. So when they say, oh, well, this is the rule and this is the standard, then you can't push back on it because you have the ability to go and find it or create it yourself.
And look, they had a whole entire year, 2020, to think about what we're going to change. You know, and so look, they already had rules established, and sometimes we as business owners go in and modify the rules because either the rules were not clear enough, or it's getting out of hand, or this is not the idea that what we pictured our business to look like. And so you as the business owner, you as the person who paid the taxes, should be able to make those rules. Now, I think a lot of times we think discrimination is, you know, because we feel like this only fit a certain type of people, which is wrong. It does not, because it didn't say this type of people cannot wear this in here. Discrimination means a certain group of people, we're targeting you. But anybody I've seen in every ethnicity wear those type of clothes. So I really believe that we as a culture need to be able to adapt and be willing to follow and not buck the system so much.
Exactly.
What we saw, guys, you can recall, I think maybe about a year or so ago, there was a video that came out of Dallas, a restaurant there, where the owner had to verbally,
chastise some clients.
Chastise those who were in the restaurant for their behavior, for dancing on tables. You know, why do we still have to deal with that?
Because you've been pent up for 16 months almost, you know? And so all of those behaviors and all of that didn't stop. You know, it's just gotten bottled up. And so now you're just going to see this, you know.
They're going to do the most.
It's going to be the most. It's going to be almost like an eruption. So before things kind of go back to normal, you're going to see this uptick in like this outlandish behavior. But what we should recognize and remember is that society determines what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And this speaks to us as a society. You know, we have gotten away from decency, and we've made everyone who tries to hold a standard, we made them out to be the bad guy. When we really should be examining ourselves. Why are we so comfortable with presenting ourselves in this manner? And, you know, and if that's your way of presenting yourself in public, then you also have to be ready for the questions or ready for, you know, kind of the side eyes and those types of things. But at the end of the day, that business has a right to determine if they want to set a dress code or if they would like to establish a particular procedure. And you as the client, you have the ability to say yes or no. You vote with your dollar.
But more legal troubles came for Turkey Leg Hut in the form of a $1.3 million lawsuit from U.S. Foods. The food giant accused the restaurant and its owners for failing to pay its grocery bills.
We start tonight with a shocking lawsuit filed against one of our city's most popular restaurants. The lawsuit against Turkey Leg Hut accuses them of not paying their grocery bills. Fox 26's Matthew Seedorf first broke this story and is outside the restaurant tonight.
A lot of people surprised by this. We've all seen the lines outside Turkey Hut. This place can be packed any day of the week, but now a lawsuit claims they haven't been paying some bills. One of Houston's most popular restaurants, known nationwide.
Houston's most iconic restaurant.
It's all over TikTok.
Yeah, that's how I heard it.
Yeah, so they told us about it. It went viral on TikTok.
I told you I had to stop at Turkey Leg Hut.
We've been there for the long lines. Now Turkey Leg Hut being sued more than $1 million, accused of not paying their food vendor.
I'm really surprised that, they are in this situation, considering that they're pretty busy, high-volume restaurant.
The recently filed lawsuit claims Turkey Leg has failed to pay U.S. Foods roughly $85,000 for produce sold, adding as of this date, Turkey Leg owes U.S. Foods almost $1.3 million.
Obviously, there was an agreement signed with the restaurant and that actual distributor. It will make it difficult for him to outsource any other vendor in the city.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's a false claim, but it is far-fetched.
Customers here from Houston and beyond learning about the allegations.
I really hope they get it figured out. Yeah, me too. It's a really good business from the little short stay that we had. The food was really good.
I don't believe it. Always rumor, this one said that, she said that, he said that. I don't really believe it. I bet you my paycheck.
You?
I bet my Social Security check.
Cynthia Russell and Haiti Burnett have lived near Turkey Leg Hut for about 50 years. You're not surprised? Why not?
Because these are black owners. And this neighborhood used to just be for blacks. Yeah. So, if they could make it hard for you, they would.
Fox 26. We tried speaking with someone from Turkey Leg Hut about the lawsuit. $1.3 million.
That's a lot of money. Well, there's no one here right now that can talk, so okay.
A co-owner for the restaurant responding to our Fox 26 web story with this Instagram post, saying, check the track record and we have paid taxes, etc. on time. U.S. Foods owed us money for advertising, etc. on trucks, Instagram, and all. It's always three sides to a story, and their side ain't the truth. We also received a statement tonight from U.S. Foods saying that they don't comment on litigations. Reporting on the South Side, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 26 News.
And it was one thing after the next. Trouble persisted when Turkey Leg Hut's co-founder, Lynn Price, was fired along with several staff members. The co-founder, Nakia Holmes, cited financial mismanagement. She also served Lynn Price, her husband, with divorce papers.
A lot of people wondering what is going on with a popular restaurant. A lot of turmoil is being played out in public. Fox 26 business reporter Tom Ziska live in the 3rd Ward outside the Turkey Leg Hut, where a co-founder has been fired, staff laid off, and paychecks are missing. Tom.
Rashi, a lot of moving pieces here. The Turkey Leg Hut made a splash when it was founded in 2015 by husband and wife team Lynn Price and Nakia Holmes. Last year, there were headlines about the couple's separation while they continued to operate the business together until yesterday. From its home on Alameda Road, the Turkey Leg Hut lunch crowd is not the long wait that the popular restaurant can be known for. But as diners enjoy a nice day on the patio, all is not well at the restaurant. Co-founder Lynn Price posted on Instagram a now deleted copy of an email from a management consultant that gave him his walking papers from the company, reading, "Your employment with the Turkey Leg Hut is being terminated effective immediately," it reads. The firing is just one of several personnel changes at the company, citing a financial review after the discovery of potential mismanagement. The Turkey Leg Hut owner Nakia Holmes says in a statement to Fox 26, "Unfortunately, we quickly uncovered financial discrepancies that demanded immediate action." That action included 2 firings, 6 people laid off, and what she insists is a 2-week payroll delay. But an employee who does not want to show his face says he's gone more than 6 weeks without a paycheck, owed more than $1,000.
We get behind on bills like rent, light bill, water bill. It's becoming a hassle trying to get what's owed to you.
You should not give up on the money that's yours, regardless of the amount.
Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico says affected employees have a strong argument to get their money if the employer drags its feet. From court filings to complaints to the Department of Labor, there are avenues to collect, especially with the business still in operation. It does not, however, lessen the immediate hardship for employees waiting on a promise to be paid.
My creditors aren't going to be as nice as you're asking me to be to you, and they're not going to wait.
So Courtney, the employee, says it is a challenge continuing to come to work, not knowing when the next paycheck will come. Owner Nakia Holmes says she does plan to address those backlogged paychecks promptly, her word there, and hopes to invite those laid-off employees back to work by later in the summer. Meantime, the drama continues here behind me. We were informed this afternoon that Lynn Price, the co-founder, was served divorce papers right behind me and escorted off the premises by a deputy. In Third Ward tonight, I'm Tom Ziska, Fox 26 News.
Unable to weather the financial storm, Turkey Leg Hut filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in early 2024. The hope here was to keep operating while cleaning up their finances.
A popular Houston restaurant filed for bankruptcy.
In a statement on Tuesday, the owner of Turkey Leg Hut said the company entered a, quote, voluntary court-supervised Chapter 11 process. Nakia Holmes says despite the filing, Turkey Leg Hut is still looking to continue its operations while still meeting obligations to stakeholders, employees, suppliers, and vendors. In February, it was announced the co-founder, Lynn Price, was fired for mismanaging money.
But bankruptcy came with unexpected surprises, including a fire that broke out just a month after the filing was made. And months later, the lease was terminated and the building foreclosed on.
Well, developing this morning, an overnight fire at the Turkey Leg Hut. It happened just before 11 last night. Details are limited and it's unclear how much damage the building sustained, but no injuries were reported. The cause of the fire, of course, under investigation. So we'll continue to keep you updated both on air and online with the very latest details.
And then in early 2025, a surprising indictment. Lindell Price, the former Turkey Leg Hut co-owner, was charged in a 2020 bar explosion. The charges, conspiracy to commit arson.
Well, we begin Fox 26 News at 5 with some breaking news. Lindell Price, the former co-owner of Turkey Leg Hut, has appeared in federal court on arson charges.
Our Randy Wallace live for us downtown and tell us what this is all about. Randy.
Yeah, Anthony, now this afternoon, Turkey Leg Hut owner Lynn Price was arraigned on charges of conspiracy to commit arson of a commercial building and conspiracy to use an interstate facility to commit arson of a vehicle. This is video from the June of 2020 fire. People can be seen pouring gasoline around the entrance ramp to bar 5015. According to court documents, the owner of 5015 was a former co-owner of the Turkey Leg Hut and Price's business partner. Now, prior to the arson, the indictment alleges in April 2020, Lynn Price also paid John Price and others to set fire to a stolen blue 1975 Chevy Nova. John Price's attorney had this to say following this afternoon's arraignment.
So today was just an initial arraignment where we stood before the judge and pled not guilty to the charges that have been brought against Mr. Price, John Price. This is a classic example of being very mindful of the company that you keep. Sometimes the company that you keep can get you in trouble. We look forward to looking into the charges, investigating the charges, and ensuring that Mr. John Lee Price's rights are protected.
Now, federal prosecutors want Lynn Price held with no bond, saying that he's a potential danger to the community. Lynn Price's next hearing is set for Thursday, May the 1st. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Reporting live from the federal courthouse, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
In court, Price pleaded not guilty to arson conspiracy charges, and now he waits for the next legal steps to play out. Lindell Price, the former owner of the Turkey Leg Hut, pled not guilty after being indicted on 3 federal charges in the case of the fire set to bar 5015 in June of 2020. It was a long hearing here today with Fox 26's reporter Leslie Delaspore was at the courtroom. Leslie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, court was about 2 hours long, and we heard lots of evidence, but also strong arguments from both sides. But also lots of information came out of that courtroom today. Now, federal prosecutors called an FBI agent to the stand. That agent claims co-defendant John Price told investigators that Lindell orchestrated in setting bar 5015 on fire, stole cars, and even knew that marijuana was being sold on Turkey Leg Hut property using Turkey Leg Hut branding and packaging. John Price later admitted to setting the fire when he was arrested on a separate charge in 2023. Now, during the cross-examination, the defense argued that Lindell is a good member in the community and said John Price's confession only came about because he was facing felony drug charges.
The evidence that they have put on is based on a person, an individual that is under federal indictment for trafficking one of the most dangerous drugs in America, which is fentanyl. So again, the court has provided him with a bond. There are no allegations against my client whatsoever as it related to any type of drug trafficking as it relates to that co-defendant. A lot of things were brought up that, you know, we necessarily didn't agree with, and we addressed those things during the course of the hearing.
Now, the judge said that she had a lot to chew on before she could make a decision. Anthony.
Leslie, really quickly here. So, like you mentioned, lots of stuff happened in court today, but when we came to cross-examination from the defense, what did we learn? What were they saying in defense of him?
Yeah, there was something that really stood out to a lot of people in the courtroom. So during the cross-examination, the FBI agent pointed out that Lyndall Price was actually not seen in the surveillance video of Bar 5015 being set on fire. And that was one of the first points in the argument from the defense towards the end of the hearing.
This is not a rush for judgment. We're not going to, litigate this case in the media. We're looking for the court's ruling. We're looking forward to the court's ruling, and we're looking forward to clearing Mr. Lyndall Price's name.
Reporting from downtown Houston, Leslie Delaspore, Fox 26 News.
And there you have it. In just 10 years, we witnessed the rise and fall of the turkey leg hut.